he's probably going to get 6 or 7 probably, and unless somebody goes down. So we're trying to utilize those other guys right now, and then when Laviska comes back, hopefully soon, we'll try to get him in there a little more. But his development's coming along fine. He's a young, talented guy that has a lot of room to grow.
Where's the ceiling on Colin? What do you like the most about him?
Well, obviously he's got great length and size. That's great. And now we're just trying to hone in and refine his receiver route running skills. He's a tough kid. Just a matter of really honing in. Keenan's doing a great job with him. Is coming in and out of breaks is important. The depth of routes. He's a big target, which is positive. And we're trying to figure out ways to get him more involved. But he's coming along at a good rate.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you, Smitter. Let's go over to Demetrius and then John Shipley.
Hey, Coach. Coach Marone talked about this Steelers front seven being probably the most difficult front seven that he's ever faced, or will be the most difficult. What is your assessment on their front seven, and what do you guys have to do in order to contain and sort of block in terms of that?
Oh, we have to step up. We got to raise our game to a level that we haven't seen yet. So I think the opportunity's there for us. When we're playing an elite team like Pittsburgh, they're not undefeated just because of their defense. They're playing with great team effort. They're physical. They can run. They pursue the football, but most of all, they're really sound in what they do. They protect the edges very well with those outside linebackers. Their inside linebackers can run. Their inside defensive linemen are big and strong. Hayward's one of the best in the business at his position. Safety, Minka's doing a heck of a job of just being a ball hawk, and obviously their corners are holding up very well. So really not a lot of weaknesses there. They're sound, they're tough, they're strong, and they run to the ball.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Demetrius. Let's go over to John Shipley and then to Gene Fournette.
Hey, Coach. James Robinson's obviously proven he can carry the load so far, but is there any part of you that maybe wants to see, other running backs, whether it's Devon or Zigbo, anybody else moving forward, get just a few more touches to give him some rest?
Yeah, I mean, you'd always like to sprinkle the ball around and make sure James is fresh, especially going into the fourth quarter in some of these close games. But for the most part, we're trying to establish run and be physical. We know what James can do and what he brings to the table. As long as he's healthy, as long as he's his stamina's in check, then I think he needs to get the ball. So that's the first, second down back that you expect. Now, hopefully, we can spell him a little bit more. Unfortunately, Chris went out last week early in the game. Thompson. Hopefully we can spell him more with Zigbo or Dari, so we can utilize those guys as well.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you. Let's go over to Gene Fournette.
Hey, Jay, could you speak to what your experience when you look at this Steelers franchise and you've gone up against them enough to know? What is it about that franchise or perhaps what you've gleaned from other coaches about the culture there that allows them to be as incredibly consistent as they've been for so long?
Yeah, I mean, you got to credit Coach Tomlin. Number one, he's done a great job of keeping that thing together. And obviously Big Ben has a lot to do with that. He's the calming influence back there at quarterback. You have stability at quarterback. You got a head coach. You got a system in place that you build your system around and throughout the draft and free agency, and everything works well. So they've been fortunate. They've had some different pieces, but the main parts are still there. Coach Tomlin, obviously, Big Ben, and some of these other guys that have been there for a while. So, hats off to them. It's something that every franchise strives to be, consistent, a winner, somebody who's always in the mix at the end of the year. And that's something we're trying to get to with our young football team.
Thanks.
Thank you, Gene. Let's go over to Mark Long.
Hey, Jay, when you, I don't know if you've seen much of this Claypool guy, but Claypool and Laviska, two big body guys, what does that do for you offensively in terms of the ability for these guys to do different things?
Yeah, I haven't really watched their offense. I've been studying their defense, and I just know Claypool coming out of Notre Dame is a big physical guy. Obviously, they're utilizing him with the jet sweeps and some other things, and he can run. He's getting behind the defense, so it's not like you can just sit on him. Oh, he's going to run a jet sweep. Well, he can run by you as well. So he's got a great arsenal of weapons that he can utilize in his game at wide receiver. So and Laviska is the same way. He's developing as a good receiver. Unfortunately, the injuries this year have hindered him a little bit in that development, but we expect Laviska to have that type of impact on our offense when he's totally healthy. So we can't wait for that date. We might have to be a little bit patient, though.
And what about, is Luton ready for this? I mean, this is going to be a pretty unbelievable test for him.
Well, I think so. I think you got to be. He started off his career already against Houston, a rivalry of this franchise, and he had to go up to Green Bay and face Aaron Rodgers in horrible windy conditions for a quarterback. So now he just got to face the 9-0, 10-0 Steelers. So it'll be a great challenge for him, but I know he's going to be ready to go. And I think it's very important for our entire offense to understand this challenge and really raise their game up, hopefully to a level we haven't seen yet.
Thanks, Mark. Let's do 3 final questions. Let's go Jordan, Dustin, and then we'll finish with Cassidy.
Hey, Coach. Seems like it's been a bit of a struggle getting DJ Chark the ball consistently from week to week. You'll have 1 week where he gets heavily featured, and then this past week, only 5 targets. Was just wondering what you attribute that to.
Probably the weather a little bit, and us failing on third down early in the game. We had 4 conversions early in the game. We should have converted very easily. Unfortunately, we missed the throw. We dropped the ball. We slipped coming out of a break, and we had to punt. And so there's really no rhyme or reason for it. Just a matter of we got to maintain drives to have more opportunities to get him the ball. Also, we're trying to get James the ball, make a constant effort against Green Bay in that weather to really try to run the ball. I think he had 22, 23 carries. So all that plays a factor in it. You're trying to be a physical team, establish the run. Obviously, receivers are going to get less targets.
Thanks, Coach.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Jordan. Let's go over to Dustin and then Cassidy.
Hey, Coach, with Laviska on the treatment table recently, the last few weeks, how big has it been to have a guy like Chris Connolly be able to just step in and have no real issues with that?
Yeah, he's been great about it. He's been a total pro about how he's handled this year. He could obviously go on a tank or become an issue on and off the field, but he's one of the hardest working players we have in practice, if not the hardest. He hasn't griped a little bit. We've had some conversations about his role, and his role is very critical to this football team. Being a receiver, understanding all 3 positions and being able to fill in whenever asked. I mean, he's made some big plays in every game this year, and he's going to continue to do it. So we're very pleased with Chris's leadership and his ability to take on whatever role we ask of him.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll head over to Cassidy.
Hey, Jay. This is honestly more a little curiosity than anything. Sunday after the game, Aaron Rodgers mentioned that things evened out offensively on both sides because of obviously the weather, the wind, the rain, and even the length of the grass. I'm just wondering how things like that come into factor, if you can explain that a little, and how do you measure that, maybe even literally?
Yeah, that's a good question. We had some critical players that slipped and fell in that game. Obviously it was a little bit wet, but I think the grass had something to do with it. So, I think Chris fell down on one of his routes. It was a critical point in the game. It was a third down play. He would have been wide open, and Jake obviously missed him. So the grass has something to do with it. I can't control that and work on our players, but hopefully in the future they'll use a lawnmower.
It's apparently a part of the game plan now. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, Coach. We'll see everybody after practice. Thank you.